Hello, everybody. Welcome to our next meeting. I'm going to start it with the words that I nowadays start every meeting that I have, every lecture that I give. I started with the word of caution. I'm saying, please take care of your health. I mean, these days it's very, very important. It's extremely important. And I'm going to add something that I'm not saying on every lecture. I'm not saying on every possible meeting. I'm going to say, you take care of your health, and QBTech will take care of your financial health. And this is a promise. Okay, today we're going to talk in our usual way, in our usual order, about several things. First of all, we're going to talk about latest developments. And again, I'm going to stress this, not the developments overall, not everything that is happening in the world of cryptocurrency, because a lot of things are happening right now, but more of things that actually make great impact on the price, on the acceptance of the business by everybody else, by the world. Then I'm going to have a small treat for you. I'm going to talk about the blockchain. I mean, I know this is not directly related to trading. I mean, you can trade without understanding what blockchain is. But I'm sure you've heard it so many times, the word, that it's not going to be totally useless to understand what it is. And I'm going to touch on this a little bit later, a little bit more. And I'm going to continue the topic that we started last week, and that is how to read candlestick and how to make them work for you and how to make the prognosis out of the candlestick in order to be successful, be a successful trader. Okay, let's begin. My name is Dr. Leon Rebelsky, and I'm going to guide you through the world of cryptocurrency trading and understanding of many, many things that are important. Okay, first, as I said, we're going to talk about what has happened last few days, last week, and you all know Bitcoin crashed its previous all-time price high, and it slided down a little bit, but it doesn't matter because we know, and I'll show you the slide a little bit later, the correction always takes place. Correction always takes place, but the trend is obviously upward. And not only we can get this on, not only from the view of the slide, view of the pattern on your screen, but you can see it from some additional indications. First of all, the huge volume of global trade. In just one day, 34 billion of global trade. It's not a record, but it's a very, very respectable number. The market valuation of this particular coin went up to 547 billions. And right now there are more than 7,500 different crypto assets in existence. We're not going to talk, don't get scared, we're not going to talk about all of them. We'll talk about several, which are really the name, which are synonymous sort of with the name of the business. Okay, as I already said, at 19, this is already, as you know, and I know this, again, this slide is prepared a couple of days ago, and I'm not going to change it because I like to correct it as I go along. 2 days ago, the rather nice number of all-time high, which is like 3 years old, 19,666. Don't get this number too close to heart. Was surpassed by 19,864. And it was up 8% in 24 hours, 5% for the week, and over 40%. I mean, this is huge over the last 30 days. Just going to show you several graphs. This is Bitcoin, okay? I'm going to show you a few more. This is a daily time frame. So around here, it's sometime in June. So you see it was sort of flat. We talked about it already. PayPal, our dear friend PayPal, who actually initiated this push. And then, well, not to the moon yet, but it's really moving up with a rather significant correction. But as you can see, correction which usually connected to profit taking, to people who say, okay, I want to take my money out and wait until it goes up again. And this is what happened here. This is, as I said, daily time frame. I want to show you a 4-hour time frame, 4-hourly time frame. And here you will understand exactly what I just said. What happens, currency, any asset, almost, I mean, it holds for, Bitcoin is like any other asset. And it actually sets, there is a, not a prolonged, but some significant period of flat corridor. Then it goes up, small correction or large correction, it depends. Again, same flat corridor, goes up, correction, flat corridor, goes up, correction, flat corridor, goes up, correction. And now we are in the flat corridor. And I will show you a little bit later, even in this particular meeting, I will show you how to read the signs of getting out of this corridor. The signs that the flat level is finished and it's time for the asset to jump on it and to go long. Just for information, I mean, this is not very, very informative and very important slide. Just to understand that Bitcoin is the engine, like real engine of the whole cryptocurrency market. If you look at Ethereum, this is daily time frame. If you look at Litecoin, daily time frame, even at Ripple, which is not exactly the same, but sort of the same, you will see exactly the same pattern of development of changing the value of the asset with time. So basically, if you want to know, like they say, there is a saying, you know one, you know them all. It holds for Bitcoin. You know how it behaves, more or less, you know how all others do behave. And just for, also, I mean, it's not very important right now, but to me, it's very, very interesting. You see, this is gold, also daily time frame. I would expect the gold behave in a similar way as Bitcoin. In present time and day, we talked about it with the state of global economy, with all different things that's happening in the world, mostly not very good things like Corona, like election in the US. I mean, it's evil in the US. No, I'm not going to say it's bad, but I mean, it really influenced the market very, very significantly. And usually on days like this, gold goes up. And this is, I thought that this is very, very typical of the gold. But sort of I'm not going to say it's sliding down, but it's settled in a flat corridor with a sign of breaking out. And well, we'll see what's going on. One thing that you, if you want to become an experienced and really skilled trader, you have to understand not only the behavior of the particular asset that you're trading with, you have to understand the behavior of the whole market. And this is what we're talking about. That's why I decided to show you this slide. Now, just few figures here, few numbers, important. Now, Bitcoin market cap is very, very high, and it's higher, and this is important, it's higher than market cap, than value of the 4 largest banks, JP Morgan, Chinese, BAC US, and CCB China. And that is very, very amusing. I say it's amusing. I mean, I'm not going to say it's important, it's amusing, really. Few words, as we always do, from enthusiasts, from some important and understanding people in business. This is Vijay Ayar. He is the head of one of the major major world exchanges that is in the Pacific. And he says exactly the same as everybody else that I showed so far to you. Bitcoin established itself as in the world of traditional finance as the very, very equal player of the market. And well, actually, this guy is saying that what we saw on a picture just a minute ago, that gold is starting to become less relevant. Well, honestly, I don't quite agree with that. I mean, I don't quite agree with that, because in times of different of evils of the world being unstable and unclear in the direction where it's going, gold has always been safe harbor. Well, we'll see what happens. Now, let's talk about the second largest blockchain. Well, not talk in details, but just a few words about it. It's Ethereum. It increased in value significantly over the last week. It's trading now very, very high compared to where it was just a few months ago, but not as high as it was a couple of years ago. As you remember, it was over 1,000, I think like $1,300 or even $1,500. It went up. So Ethereum is also something to watch, because this is the second largest blockchain cryptocurrency. We'll talk about it a little bit later when we speak about blockchain. And so it's also very, very interesting to watch how it's going on, how it's moving, and how it's developing. Ripple on the third place, not going to get into details, much details. It's also, all of them are going up. On the fourth, leaving the three price places, there is Tether, and I don't trade Tether, so if you want me to talk about it, send me a note. But know that it's on the fourth level. And of course, Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is the fifth largest cryptocurrency, and it's also showing signs of going up, and going up rather steadily and nicely. Now, few more words from our knowledgeable friends in business, and this is Mike Novogratz, one of the biggest and most respectable person in business. He is CEO of Galaxy Digital. You can read this, but this is what I want you to see. He says everybody in the world has to have like 2 to 3% of their net worth in Bitcoin. I'll just leave it here for you to swallow it. I mean, well, we saw over the last few days and few weeks, we saw how many wealthy people in the world are becoming even more wealthier by jumping on the bandwagon, Bitcoin bandwagon. And we're not going to miss this opportunity as well. I hope you don't, I don't. Now, also every week I show you, I tell you about a new major player in the world finances. And this time it's Guggenheim Partner. It's 200 billion managing fund, asset manager, one of the biggest in the world. $5 billion is going to be its Bitcoin exposure as of very, very soon. That's a decision that is already taken. And now the world of the favorite Bitcoin enthusiasts saying to the moon. This guy, he's also a very respectable guy, expects Bitcoin to go up to 250K in 1 year's time. Actually, I bet a bottle of whiskey, a nice one, it's not going to happen. 200, I think, is max, but we'll see what's going on. Now, and as always, I tell you about several several events that come from the government side of the business side. And that is, of course, one of the major ones this week is that Russia is going to recognize Bitcoin as property. This is very, very important. I mean, the bill was signed back in August. Now it's going through some corridors of power. And this is extremely important. It's probably one of the first countries in the world which does it. Because what does it mean? It means, and these are the words of Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, he says that digital assets will be recognized as property and their owners will be able to count on legal protection in the event of any illegal action and defend their property rights. This is very, very important. And this is one of the major developments of the week, as far as I can see. And I like this word, on an amusing side, another major government institution, that is Venezuela Army, starts its own cryptocurrency mining process. So soon there will be some colonels and generals of cryptocurrency mining in Venezuela Army. This is funny, but it's totally understandable. It's understandable because the country is really under heavy, very, very heavy US sanctions, and it's one of the major oil producing companies in the world. And they have to have a way of dealing with the rest of the world financially. Cryptocurrency is going to be the way of them dealing. Okay, if we started speaking about oil, this is information that I got from internet, from the news lines just yesterday after this presentation was completed. United Arab Emirates is going to recognize is going to introduce their own cryptocurrency. I will talk to you a little bit more about it next time when we meet. Now, you can ask me. You can say, why do we need to know about blockchain? And you may agree with what I'm going to say or not. Everybody who are in this crypto business, and especially you guys, are among the very, very thin, very, very microscopic, minuscule layer of the population of the world. People who understand what cryptocurrency is, or at least know something about it, and people who are, I mean, you are on the verge of, you are the first, okay? And blockchain is a word that is related to cryptocurrency. It's not just related. I mean, cryptocurrency, most of them are based on blockchain. And I can tell you from my own experience. I mean, not trading experience. I used to be a scientist, rather good scientist. I have quite a number of scientific papers to my name. I did experimental physics, and I gave talks on many symposia, meetings, conferences, some regular talks, some invited talks. Things that I was talking about could understand everybody in the room, could understand this, maybe a few hundred people more. That's it. And you know, it gave me some sort of intellectual enjoyment to feel that I am, and all these people who we're dealing with, all these people who are with me, are the only people in the world who understand what I'm talking about. And actually, it was not totally unusable information. At the time I was working and rather successful working on the field, which is becoming very, very important, which became very important, it's high temperature superconductivity. Same here with blockchain. If you understand what it is, everybody knows the word, but very few people understand what it is. So let's, without further ado, let's get into this and to try to explain. No, before we go over, before we start explaining what it is, I want you to understand that this is the thing, blockchain, in my personal opinion, is the thing that is going to change the world. It's not an overstatement, I think. Well, in my opinion, it's not an overstatement. I mean, new sources of energy, social networks, artificial intelligence are extremely important. The blockchain is going to change, the technology of blockchain is going to change the simple, the mundane way people interact with people and people interact with authorities. Because right now, when you send something, when you do it, you send an email, or you send, or you give somebody your voting registration paper, or your vote, or your medical record, you don't give it in per se, you give the copy of it. Except when you send money. But whenever you send something of real value, there is always an intermediary. Banks, authorities, government authorities, whatever. There is always somebody between you and the person to whom you send this particular information or an object. Blockchain is changing this. And these people, of course, and these bodies, entities, people can influence the way you do it. They can filter it, they can censor it, they can achieve the very, very high level of knowing who you are. This really, really takes away your privacy. Blockchain really puts an end to it. What it's, the idea of digital timestamp is not a new one. It came around, it came about back almost 30 years ago when you send by electronic means, you send some sort of information, you need to verify it. So the idea of timestamping it, so putting a timestamp is very, very important. Why is it important? You send any proprietary information, be it title to your house, or the music that you created, or a book that you wrote, you need to be sure that it's not going to be stolen in a very, very simple way. And the guy who, or a girl, who is receiving it has to be sure that you really have it. You're sending somebody $100, maybe you send it to everybody else in the city, but you only have $100. So this is very, very important. The idea of digital timestamp is extremely important. It's like notary. It took another, what is it, almost 20 years until the idea was applied to the world of finance with a famous white paper of whoever he, she, or they are, Satoshi Nakamoto, when this entity, Satoshi Nakamoto, introduced the idea of digital cash, digital currency, and it was called Bitcoin. What is the blockchain? I mean, when you, it's a chain of blocks of information. I get back a little bit here. Blockchain is a type of database. It's a collection of information stored electronically on a computer system. And this is exactly what it is, except for in difference. I mean, as opposed to like regular, say, Excel database. It's not stored in lines, but it's stored in blocks. Not clear yet, but we'll get in there, don't worry. Each block contains each block contains important information. First of all, it's data that you want to transfer. It's the hash of the block and the hash of the previous block. Data could be anything. Data could be financial records, voting records, music, your diary. It could be anything. Okay. In case of Bitcoin, it's very simple. Data is from where it goes to where it goes and the amount. That's all. When the block is completed, and it's going to be completed when the hash is created, the hash is like a signature of the block. It cannot be modified easily. I'm not going to say it cannot be modified at all, but it cannot be modified easily. And we will see in a few minutes, there are ways of securing that it's going to be extremely difficult to modify. Okay, so hash, which is a signature of the block, and very important, hash of the previous block. Signature of the previous block. So it goes like this. You block 1, block 2, block 3. This one has this hash, which is copied here on the second one. This one copied here, and so on and so on. The first block, when you initiate the transaction, the first block is called Genesis block because it doesn't have a previous hash. If you, for some reason, in any way, alter one of the blocks, you're going to change its hash. When you change its hash, it makes all future blocks invalid. So if you want to change information, let's say in this block, you will have to alter every block that is following this one. You can say that today with new computers, with maybe even quantum computers, it's not going to be an extremely unreal situation. It's true. And then that's why there is a special device, special technology that makes changing the blocks and calculating new hash extremely difficult. There are people around the world that are called miners. Well, they're not miners because they're young people. They're not minors, they're miners. They have extremely powerful, all of them have extremely powerful set of computers. Extremely powerful. I mean, combined power of computer of all people, of all miners and all people involved in this process are way higher than all Google or IBM computing facilities. So these people, in order to calculate the hash, they have to solve a mathematical problem. Mathematical puzzle, an equation, it doesn't matter. Don't get too deep into this. They have to find an answer to a mathematical question. And the usual time to find the answer to this question with significant computing facilities, computing power, is 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, the new hash is calculated, a new reward goes to the miner. Because we're also going to talk about it a little bit further. The information that, and I'm going to show it to you right now, the information that every block that is created goes immediately to everybody in the system. everybody in the world who are in the system are getting this information the moment it appears. So, and it's stored on everybody's home, office, lab, anywhere computer. So in order to change it, you would have to change all the hashes of all blocks that are following the one that you alter, and you have to have control of more than 50% of the this peer-to-peer network. You know, again, I'm not going to say it's totally impossible, but it is extremely difficult. It's as difficult that it makes it basically unachievable goal. So what we have here, blockchain is very, very secure. We're going to go over several things in a second, in a few minutes. So the question is, how does a blockchain differ from any other database? Well, we already said that it's structured in a different way. Regular database, it's structured in tables. In blockchain, it's structured in blocks, and these blocks are chained together. That's actually where the title of the whole industry came from, blockchain. Well, amusing, but it is what it is. All blockchains are database, but not all databases are blockchains. Well, take it or leave it. Okay, there is a timestamp on every block. And this timestamp is implemented in a decentralized nature. We just spoke about it. There is a number of miners in the world. They all compete for the solution of this mathematical problem. The first one who solves this problem is getting the reward and makes a timestamp on the block. And this timestamp is not going to be altered ever. Okay? That's all we need to have to know about this. Now, how does it work with Bitcoin? Let's go through the whole transaction process. Let's say you enter the new transaction. This transaction immediately goes to the network of P2P or peer-to-peer computers, which are scattered all over the world, from South Pole to North Pole, from everywhere where you are. I'm sure there is a number of computers that participate in this process around you. Then this network is trying, every one of those computers trying to solve the problem, and there is going to be one who does it first. And solving this problem, mathematical problem, is making the transaction legitimate. I don't know whether you, I'm sure, well, maybe not all of you, but I'm sure that many of you know how, let's say somebody sends you one Bitcoin or one Ether or whatever. When it gets to your wallet, you need to wait for the confirmation. Before this confirmation comes, it's not in your wallet. It's very, very simple. It's your, but it's not money yet. It's the transaction is not complete. When the confirmation came, the block is created. This block is chained with the one that was before, and is going to be the origin for the one that is going to be afterward. And the transaction is complete. All simple, all not very, very complicated, but very, very nicely thought of. We mostly, when we say blockchain, we mostly talk about Bitcoin. It doesn't only have to be Bitcoin. It could be basically almost any proprietary information, anything that has value. As I said already, it could be content, musical or otherwise, or video. It could be legal contracts. It could be, well, money, of course. It could be anything that you would like to have. And in that sense, we speak a lot about Ethereum. Ethereum is the second largest blockchain, not by chance, not by accident. The way what it does, the major Ethereum is the like do-it-yourself set for creating new blockchains. Many blockchains, many coins are created on Ethereum blockchain, on the protocol of Ethereum blockchain. And one of the biggest achievements of Ethereum is the what we call smart contracts. Let's say you want to buy, somebody is selling, I don't know, a car, okay, and somebody wants to buy it. They both have to be sure that the one who wants to buy it has money, the one who wants to sell it has the car. And Ethereum blockchain, the smart contract, actually makes this assurance, makes this being able to believe each other possible without any intermediary. Like, as I say, there was a notary, there was maybe some companies or government bodies who oversaw this transaction. You don't have to have this anymore. So it's basically done by itself with the help of Ethereum. And that is what I was talking about in the beginning, is extremely important in terms of the influence to the way the world is going to develop. I mean, I'm not afraid of these loud words, these very, very big words. I mean, it influences the way it's changing. The world is changing, I'm sorry. So major things of blockchain, major features that you need to, makes it so important. It's decentralization and transparency. Decentralization means nobody controls it. Transparency means that everybody in the network could see what's going on. Then, of course, the question, how secure it is. We've heard about hacks of exchanges. All this, of course, happening. All this is happening. It's not the intrinsic nature and intrinsic problem of the blockchain. It's more of the human side or electronic side. The blockchain itself is could not be altered, could not be screwed in absolutely any way. So, which means the goal of blockchain is to allow digital information to be recorded and distributed without any additional addition. Okay? We spoke about this already a little bit. Now, a very, very important thing that scares a lot of people in the financial industry, and it is what is going to happen to the financial sector with blockchain development. Let's compare these major things that actually are important in any financial operations. Hours open. Banks, you know, open, I don't know where you are. When I lived in the US, it's 8:30 to 3 p.m., take it or leave it, and they're closed on weekends. Blockchain is always Bitcoin transaction, always open. Transaction fees. You know, it takes sometimes when you send money from one country to another, it may take you, I don't know, 10%, sometimes even 20% of the value that you are sending. This is totally unacceptable. With blockchain, with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency, the cost of making the transaction is really, really minuscule. Excuse me. Well, transaction speed is not really on the blockchain in blockchain favor, although it's not quite clear, it's not quite definite. When, you know, it may take a second for you to send an email to somebody across the world, from Russia to the US, from Dubai to Sydney. It may take a second, really. But at the same time, it may take several days for your money to travel from one bank to another one in the same city. In that sense, Bitcoin, of course, cryptocurrency, of course, is a lot more usable. On the other hand, it's not, you know, like when you put a credit card into the credit card reader, you get an answer immediately, like almost momentarily. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, you have to wait this 10 minutes or whatever for the first confirmation. So it's not like if you are sitting in a nice restaurant and you gave your Bitcoin card, you want to pay with Bitcoin, well, you're not in the hurry anywhere. But if you're running into the train station, your train leaves in 1 minute, there is no way you can pay with cryptocurrency, because it would take time to confirm the payment is made, that you have money, as a matter of fact. Now, KYC rules, which are very, very important part of all financial business, all financial world today. That is, KYC stands for Know Your Customer. If you've registered on Forex platforms, reputable Forex platforms, or cryptocurrency platforms, you are always required to provide the proof of identity, proof of address, and bank statement. That is a part of KYC. And these people know about you a lot. When you do the cryptocurrency transaction, it's not always, it's not necessary. Only when you confirm, when you convert from cryptocurrency to fiat or vice versa, and the amount is significant, you may need this. But usually you don't need this at all. And well, whether it's good or bad for everybody to decide for himself or herself, it of course slows down, makes certain barriers in a way of transactions. But in the same time, it prevents people from being scammed easily and from illegal activities. Ease of transfer, no questions about it. I already said takes few days, and it's really cumbersome. I mean, people in these banks where you make your transfer or exchanges, sometimes they're sitting on computers, mainframe computers back from the 70s. I mean, some of these computers are older than many of you guys. And so this is, of course, an advantage of cryptocurrency. Privacy, no word to add to that. Security, it's very secure. Your bank account could be hacked. Bitcoin, if it is cryptocurrency, if it is properly set, it's very difficult to hack. Approved transaction, account seizure, when you have an account at the bank, it could be taken away by the government order or by somebody else order who is in power. Nothing like this would happen to cryptocurrency. Now, let's summarize this a little bit, because we're running a little bit late, but nevertheless, let's summarize this. So what is for the Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency? Let's talk about in general cryptocurrency, but we'll understand that it's like name of the game is Bitcoin anyway. So it removes human involvement, verification, okay, cost reduction, decentralization, security of transactions, transparency, and most of all, it provides banking alternatives. I mean, think about it. I mean, there are countries that are not where actions, where financial world financial life is regulated heavily, and you don't like it. So in this case, of course, this is also something that goes in favor of Bitcoin, of cryptocurrency. Against it, very, very significant technology cost. And not only technology, I mean, energy that goes into Bitcoin mining, into Bitcoin, into confirmation of transaction is enormous. Maybe in some of the future meetings, I will show you the pictures of the mining stations, like commercial mining stations. One of the main problems associated with it is where the heat that is generated by computers go, because heat is enormous. There are actually setups that do the mining in cold places, like up north or down south, and the heat is used to heat the town. But this is very, very few cases of that. We spoke about low transaction per second, that because we need to wait for the confirmation. And there are many cases of use of cryptocurrency by the illegal entities. Well, it depends which side of the law you are. I mean, some people will find it like a positive thing, and some are negative. I mean, from the point of view of a law-abiding citizen, this is not a very good thing. And regulation. Bitcoin cryptocurrency lacks regulation right now, which is, again, good and bad. Everything in this business and good is good and bad. Well, so this is probably about it, about blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now we all again have very, very little time. Maybe I will talk about it in details next time, but we'll speak about the use of candlestick patterns in order to make proper market decisions. Okay, every candlestick brings with it the number of different information. What are this information? The candlestick could look like this or like this, doesn't matter. I mean, the kind information that it brings is the same. Every candlestick tells you where, at which level the asset opens for each time frame, for each period of time, because candlestick is gives you information about change in the asset price, asset cost during a certain period of time. This period of time is called time frame. Time frame varies from 1 minute, well, it could be 1 second, but it's like every tick. And from 1 minute on most of the platforms to 2 months. I usually trade with two types of time frame. You already saw them. It's 4-hour time frame and 1 daily time frame. In some of the future meetings, I will explain why, because my technical indicators actually are the best when I started trading. I usually traded with like 15 minutes time frame because I wanted to see the result quickly. It's not always the good thing. The statistics which makes the indicators work is best when you have a large set of data. And that is only when it is the larger time frames. Okay, anyway, so each candle has 4 pieces of information. When it opens, the level at which it opens, the level at which it closes, and how low and how high it went during this time frame period. The candle that you have here is what is called bullish candle. The price increased during the time frame period. This is bearish candle. It opens here, same kind of information: open, close, high, low. The only difference that here close is higher. Closing price is higher than the opening price. In the bearish candle, the opening price is higher than the closing price. Now, these are basically the same candles. They're called Japanese candles. We spoke about it last time. They're most usable in the trading in Forex and in cryptocurrency. By the way, the candles that I showed you, the picture that I showed you in the beginning, are called high Kinashi candles. They're like more of a trend kind of candles. Anyway, so let's look at the major patterns and what do they give us. Bearish candle. Okay, let's say you have a trend. By the way, open body. In our case, I mean, on every platform, it's different. In our case, open body is a bullish candle, so it opens lower than it closes. The filled one are the bearish candles. It opens lower than it closes. Okay, so bearish engulfing pattern. If you have a set of rising market, and then you have a bearish candle of candle that short, let's call them short candle, that is fully encompasses the previous trend candle that you have, that may be the sign of the changing trend. That usually signifies that there are more sellers in the market than the buyers. Similar, exactly the same thing, but in the opposite direction for bullish engulfing pattern. You have downward trend, and then you have a bullish candle which is fully encompasses the previous one. That is the sign of possible trend change. Possible trend change. I mean, it doesn't, no 100% guarantee, but if you let's say in 4 times out of 5, or at least 3 times out of 5, this is going to happen. Now, the nice name of this evening star, I like the way it sounds. Let's say you have the upward trend, okay? And by the way, you can notice that the level at which next candle opens is usually the level at which the previous candle closes. Here, well, actually now I see that I made the picture a little bit improper, but never mind, I will correct it. Here you can see that it closed here, but the level is different. When something like this happens and it goes lower, it's a sign, very, very significant sign of changing, of trend changing. The market may have a good chances of going down right now. This is very, very similar to what we had before, except for one thing. When this is fully enclosed in this particular previous candle, that is a sign of market going up, going down, changing the trend toward lower values. And exactly similar things for the bullish. It's called bullish harami. Don't ask me, I don't know why it's called harami. I will check for the next time we meet, I will check on that. This, the sign of the market not knowing what's going on, basically it closes the same level where it opens. So it's, but in terms of projection, it's very, very similar to the one that we saw here. Basically, it signifies the same possible market change. And here, the same thing as well. It signifies change of market, possible going up, changing from the bearish market to the bullish market. Important, very, very important. If you have a pattern like this, it's called rising tree. You have 3 candles that go in the opposite trend, opposite direction. You have to wait for the 4th one. If the 4th one is different from this, that is almost definite sign that the market is going up. And I showed you this, I'm not going to go back, don't have much time. I will show you next time in on the real market pictures. And same here, 3 candles, and then again the one that is the sign of correction of the market, the one that we talked about before. Like remember I showed you this 4-hour chart. Every that many candles, time frames, there is a correction. Well, excuse me. Excuse me. Well, it jumped from, okay. So here again, you can see this 3 candles down, then 1 up, so it signifies up. So basically, let's go to the bottom of this, where we were. Okay. If you remember, if you employ this very, very simple ways of trading, ways of analyzing the market, you will be able to do good quality assumptions of where the market is going to go. Next time, I will show you the exact examples of real market, not pictures like this, but examples of real market behavior. Need to stop now. You are due for future new information from the company, and thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next week. Bye.